All right, we're going to jump right in and explore an idea that might just completely reframe how you see your relationship with God. And it all starts with one single question.
So let's just start with this, because the answer to this question, well, it changes absolutely everything. Did God save you to be a farmhand, or did he save you to be a bride?
You know, if you've ever felt like your spiritual life has become just a long series of business meetings with God, you're not alone. It can get really functional, right? All about survival, just running down a list of spiritual chores. But what if it was never supposed to be a business meeting? What if the whole time the invitation was for a date night, something intimate, all about connection, real, face-to-face time?
Way before God even lays out his calendar, he first defines the relationship. And he uses this incredible phrase back in Exodus. He says that if we keep his covenant, we'll be his peculiar treasure. Now, I know that sounds a little strange to us today, but the original Hebrew word here, oh, it's just breathtaking.
The Hebrew word is segula. And listen, this isn't just any treasure. A segula was a king's private, personal treasure. This wasn't the gold used to pave roads or the grain to feed armies. No. This was a special jewel, something he kept for his own personal delight.
And this difference is so important. See, a king had a public treasury. That stuff belonged to the office of the king. It was for running the kingdom. But the segula, that was completely different. That was kept in his bedroom. It belonged to the king's person. It was cherished just for what it was.
And don't think for a second this is just some Old Testament idea. The apostles grabbed this exact same language. Paul calls us a people for his own possession, and Peter calls us a peculiar people. So here's the bottom line. A king schedules intimate time with his segula, his personal treasure. He has business meetings with his tax collectors. The question is, which one are you?
So if that's our identity, if we're the king's personal treasure, how does that completely flip the script on how we understand his calendar?
So we get to Leviticus 23, and God starts laying out his calendar. And we see this key phrase, appointed feasts. And right away, our minds jump to food and parties. But again, the original Hebrew word here is so much more specific.
The word is moed. And a moed isn't really about a feast. It's a fixed appointment, a set time. It's a pre-scheduled meeting. The king has literally looked at his calendar and set aside specific time for you.
I mean, think about it like this. The king sends you a calendar invite for dinner at his palace. If you show up on the wrong day or you're an hour late, did you keep the appointment? No, you stood him up. The creator of time itself sets the appointments for his segula. Our honor is just to show up.
And this is exactly what the prophet Amos was getting at. He asks, can two walk together unless they are agreed? That word for agreed in the Hebrew comes from the same root as moed. It means to have an appointment. You can't have an intimate walk with someone if you aren't even on the same schedule.
Okay, so we're the king's treasure, and he has set specific appointments to be with us. But what's the ultimate point of these dates? Well, it's even more profound than we could imagine.
That same passage in Leviticus calls these appointments holy convocations. The Hebrew word there is mikra. And you know what mikra means? It means a rehearsal. These dates aren't just meetings. They are actual dress rehearsals for the most important events in all of history.
And this is where it just gets incredible. These appointments, they create a divine timeline. The spring appointments, they create a divine timeline. The spring rehearsals perfectly predicted the Messiah's first coming, and he fulfilled every single one on the exact day. Passover was the rehearsal for his crucifixion, first fruits for his resurrection, Shavuot for the giving of the Spirit. I mean, that precision should give us absolute chills and make us look at the fall appointments, the rehearsals for his return, with so much anticipation.
Which brings up a pretty obvious question, right? If you knew your wedding day was coming, would you just skip the rehearsal? If these are the dress rehearsals for our king's return, why in the world would his bride, his segula, decide to stop showing up?
But what about the early church? I mean, did the apostles themselves treat these divine appointments like they were suddenly canceled? Well, the biblical record couldn't be more clear.
The evidence is just overwhelming. Jesus himself kept the appointments, even when it was literally dangerous for him to do so. And after he resurrected, we see the apostles doing the exact same thing. Paul is literally racing to get to Jerusalem for Pentecost. He even tells the Gentile believers in Corinth, let us keep the feast. They clearly saw these dates as vital and ongoing.
Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, that verse in Colossians that so many people use to say these appointments are obsolete. The argument is that they're just a shadow. But hold on, is a shadow a bad thing? Absolutely not. A shadow proves that the body casting it is real, and it shows you the shape of the one who's coming, and it tells you that person is getting closer. You don't get mad at a shadow, you study it. These appointments are the very shadow of the Messiah. If you want to know the king, you've got to study his shadow.
So, let's bring it all home. We're not farmhands just fulfilling a duty. We are a bride, a personal treasure, and we've been invited to these intimate appointments that also happen to be dress rehearsals for the greatest wedding in history. This is really the key. The creator of the entire universe sent out a save the date. But he didn't send it to the whole world. He sent it specifically to you, his segula, his private, cherished treasure.
And when you see it that way, the whole conversation changes. The question isn't, do I have to do this to be saved? That's the mindset of a farmhand. The mindset of a bride, a cherished segula, is totally different. It's, wait, I get to meet with my king? When and where? I would miss it for the world.